Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Jahan-e-Man. And as I have promised you that every day we are introducing one woman of substance, a woman who has achieved greater heights with lots of struggles and hard work. Today we have one of them, Mrs. Naghma Alvi. Mrs. Naghma Alvi is a successful businesswoman and we are very proud of her. Jahan-e-Man feels honored of granting her the title of Women of Substance. Hello, Naghma, how are you?
Thank you so much for having me on this forum. And I don't know whether I am entitled for that title or not, but yes, I'm doing my bit.
So Naghma, welcome to the show, and you are very much entitled. That's why Jahan-e-Man has selected 30 such women, and we have started celebrating International Women's Day 1 month in advance. And I'm very much happy to see you here on this platform. So Naghma, please let us know about your journey, about your educational journey, your marriage, your achievements, everything I would like to know from you.
Actually, my father was in a transferable job. So we traveled all throughout the country. For every 2-3 years, we would be posted in one city or the other. So my schooling was in so many different schools. And I think because we lived in so many cities, the understanding and the horizon was very broadened. And then for my college, I came to Aligarh and Aligarh Muslim University, so where I did my graduation. And then later on, I did my post-graduation also from there, MBA in export marketing. Then for a couple of years, I worked with a few export houses in their accessories and clothing division. But later on, after the kids happened, after marriage, I took a sabbatical. And in 2014, I started a small venture called Jewel Baksa. So, which was basically, I was curating and making jewelry in brass and German silver. But then in 2017, the idea came that we should now start a clothing and a textile jewelry line. And this was basically possible because I met a couple of ladies and girls in the neighboring village in Geja. And these girls were from the marginalized sector, but they were very untrained and unskilled. But they were very eager to learn at the same time. So whatever I had learned over the years, I decided to impart that knowledge to them. And this is how the textile line also came up. And they were learning as well as earning at the same time. So it was kind of a small, the idea was to empower them. So it was my small effort, basically. But having said all that, you can't achieve all this on your own. So without the support of your parents, your in-laws, your husband and your kids, it's not going to be possible. So they were the basic, motivational and encouraging factors in my life. I think I can't hear you. You are mute.
Okay. So nice of you. Your story is very inspiring, especially we come to know that you are working with the underprivileged girls and women and you are training them and at the same time you are involving them into your business. That's really great. And now, Naghma, as you know that our theme for this year is emotional fashion. And do we really need to fashion our emotions? So what is your understanding about this?
See, when I get dressed up in the morning and when I look at myself in the mirror, or if somebody else looks at me, those feelings that come while wearing the clothes is basically those emotions. Those emotions can be both negative as well as positive. By negative, I mean that, emotions like anger and shame and jealousy and uncertainty, or, I'll give you an example. Suppose I get dressed up and I see a person and she's wearing better clothes than me, in the sense that I feel that my clothes are not so valuable or not so expensive as hers. So I feel shame. I'm ashamed. I dress up and I don't know what to wear, how to wear it, or am I looking good or am I not looking good? That is uncertainty. I see you wearing a beautiful dress and I cannot afford it. I know that I want it, but I cannot afford it. That is jealousy. Okay. Then I see a person wearing a particular dress, maybe a model or a mannequin for that matter, and I see it's fitted very well. And I think that if I buy the dress, I might also look good. But when I actually wear the dress, I do not look good. I am frustrated. And I at times am also angry. So all these emotions are basically, they are attached to your fashion. But having said this, even there are positive attitudes also, positive emotions also attached to fashion. I feel I'm dressed in a very well-fitted clothes. I am wearing matching shoes, very good jewelry. I am very confident. I can barge into a hall of 100 people, or maybe even I can, go for an interview. I am confident. I'm getting happy vibes, positive vibes. So that is also one part of the emotion. That is the positive emotion where we all should be moving towards, not the ones that I've already mentioned earlier, which were all very negative. Even happiness is also related to fashion, because if I'm happy, I wear good colors. I wear bright clothes like, oranges and reds and yellows. And, I feel happy. I am emanating positive vibes. And at the same time, if I'm not so happy, I might wear browns and grays. So even color plays an important role in our emotions and, of course, the fashion. So I think all of us should try to achieve all these things rather than the ones that I mentioned earlier. That is what is my understanding of emotions and fashion.
Oh, that's really great to know, Nagma, that these colors and the texture and the design and the way we dress up and the style, everything plays very important role in our emotions. And our emotions and our fashion are very closely, they are internet, and we cannot separate them. Whatever we wear, that reflects our inner thoughts, and that reflects
moods. Basically, our moods are so affected by the way we dress up.
Yeah, that's true. Now we'll come to the another aspect of the fashion, that is like there is something called mad fashion, where the so frequently the fashion is being changed, and the people are in the race of that madness, and they spend lots of money that is out of their budget, and they changes their clothing and dressing and accessories so frequently. So how this is going to benefit or harm our environment, or if we talk about sustainable development, so how, is it against that or it is favoring that?
Being in the business, I would like people to buy, but at the same time, being a conscious citizen, we really have to make an effort. As far as the sustainability that what you've talked about, basically, let's try to understand what sustainability means. See, whenever there's a clothing or a shoe or an accessory that is manufactured and marketed and then used by a consumer, all this has to be done in a sustainable manner as far as the environment is concerned or the socio-economic aspect is concerned. In a layman language, if you want to understand, is that we have to improve the life cycle of a product. When I design it, to the materials that I use, the raw materials that I use, to its manufacturing, to its marketing, to its transporting it to the consumer, to its selling, to its using by the consumer, reusing it, recycling it, all this has to be done in a sustainable manner. Okay. And sustainability in the sense that first is environment. How, while we use whatever we are using, the natural resources that we are using, like water, soil, plants, animals, has to be used in its judicious form. Even the renewable resources like wind and solar energy has to be consumed. We have to tap those energies. Okay, so now then comes the socio-economic factor. What is socio-economic factor in sustainability? That whatever the artists, the artisans, the workers that are working for this industry, they have to be given good working conditions. So all this is sustainability. This is what is sustainability. We keep saying sustainable, but we have to understand what is sustainability basically. Try not to harm the environment, basically. And see, textile industry, we all know that it is the world's one of the largest polluter of water. How? When we are making cotton, we are using too much of water. When we are dyeing, we are using too much of water, which is getting polluted. So what we have to do is basically we have to use organic materials which do not use so much of water. We have to use biodegradable dyes for dyeing our clothes so that, you know, the land does not get polluted or the water does not get polluted. And even when we are making our clothes, we have to follow the policy of zero wastage. You know, in what sense? If you make a dress, the pattern that is being cut, so whatever fabric is not being used can be used to make textile jewelry, or nowadays we can even make mask out of it. So the purpose is to use as less as fabric as possible. That is the way you can actually practice sustainability. Another thing that you had mentioned about the hoarding of clothes in the mass production, there are companies, there are big companies which are like H&M and all. What they're doing is, not H&M for that matter, there are many other companies who only take out two collections per season. So, you know, they are basically following slow fashion. While there are many fast brands which, you know, keep churning out collections every week, which leads to mass hoarding, which leads to mass consumption. And that ways, anyways, we are more adding to the pollution. And of course, then sustainability is not achieved. So basically, everything comes down to less usage.
Thank you, dear Nagma, for throwing light on such an important aspects. You know, you have very well explained that what exactly is sustainability, and then how we have to be careful while using anything. Like, you know, excess of anything is bad. Not only it is in the sense of fashion, but if we talk about any other things, whether it is our furniture or the household or whatever we talk, yes, anything in excess is bad. So thank you very much. And I know that now, nowadays, the women are very well cautious. And earlier it was said that the women are behind the fashions and they are the ones who are always going for it. But I don't think that only women are in the race. Men are equally, boys are equally in the same race. That's good. Yes. Now coming to International Women's Day. You know, we are very happy that it's coming, and then we are ready to welcome it. As for full 1 year, we were in the, during the lockdown, we were like little upset or little unhappy, not very excited, not very cheerful. But now by the God grace, we all are hopeful that now the vaccine is there, and we are very much hopeful that everything is going to be all right. So this International Women's Day is very important, especially for the women, because during lockdown, the real heroes were the women. You know, how they have sustained and how they have maintained the family during this crisis. That's really, we have to appreciate them, and we have to give them the credit, due credit to them. So now, what is your resolution for this International Women's Day? And what is your message for all other sisters, how they have to celebrate it and how they should keep, what they should keep in mind while doing this?
Frankly, during this past 1 year, I realized that I did not buy any new dress or any shoes or any jewelry. And I think I can live without it, you know. This is what I realized. So coming years, I am judiciously going to try not to be a hoarder. And I will try to do very diligent buying. That is one resolution, and I hope to keep up to that. And secondly, since my work is also to, you know, for empowerment, so my resolution is now to, which I've already been doing, but now more to build a strong community of women, you know, so that they can help each other to attain success in their lives. That is my resolution. And as far as a message to my sisters is concerned, see, empowering does not happen because of selfishness. It happens because of selflessness. So we all have to get together, build a strong sisterhood, and a platform for all the women to come together and build a great future for our future generations to come. I think that is my message to them. And I think believe in yourself, because anything can be achieved by anybody who has a true, you know, a sense of achievement. They can achieve it.
Thank you very much, Nagma, for being with us. You are a woman of substance, and you have proved yourself, and Jahaneman is proud of you. Please keep it up, and whatever good work you are doing, our wishes are with you, and we always remember you in our prayers and in our duas. Thank you very much for being with us. Take care.
Thank you for having me here.
Bye.
Bye-bye.